What's good, y'all? What's good, Real Talk Squad? This is Miles, and you are listening to Real Talk with Miles Johnson, where you know we always keep it real. Let's get straight into it, man. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. Show it a friend and show it a friend. Let's get into some real talk. Eagles, Rams, preview. Eagles, 8-2. Rams, 5-5, I believe. Is that my right? Yeah, 5-5. So look, I look at this game in many ways. Many ways. We're going to talk about the defense first. We're going to talk about this offense first, right? Let's start with this defense. So, Vic Fangio is the real MVP. He's the real MVP. And I ain't going to lie, like, the NFL should make a Defensive Coordinator of the Year award. Because Vic Fangio should be that for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm looking at what he has done to transform this defense from last year to this year. Talk about what this defense was last year. They were ranked 26th in the league, giving up 356 yards a game and 51 touchdowns a game. That is an average of 3 touchdowns a game. A game. We were ranked 31st in pass defense, 10th in run defense, ranked 30th in scoring defense, 30th in red zone defense, 31st in third down defense. Compared to this year, this defense is only giving up 273 yards a game, giving up only 18 touchdowns this season, on pace to put up 26 touchdowns this season. So that is not too bad. That's less than 2 touchdowns a game. That is impact. This Eagles team is ranked first in the league over the Titans, the Broncos, the Chiefs, the 49ers, Chargers, Steelers, wherever you want to name. All those big names, guess what? The Eagles are ranked above them. I'm looking at who they're ranked right now in pass defense and run and scoring and red zone defense and third down defense. Look at this right now. This Eagles defense this year is ranked 2nd in pass defense, 7th in rush defense, 6th in scoring defense, 5th in red zone defense, and 8th in third down defense. That's impact. That's somebody that is maximizing all the talent that he has at his disposal. And Vic Fangio, he's the real MVP, and he has shown to be the best coach on this Eagles team. Not even close, not even a question. And yes, some credit, obviously credit goes to Howie Roseman. He then drafted Quinyon Mitchell. He drafted Cooper DeJean. Those were hits. Yes, give credit to a guy like Zach Bond, who is having a career year. Give credit to guys like Jalen Carter, Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, all these guys that, look, Howie can draft you, whatever the case, like Howie can draft you, but unless you actually put it on the field, it's not going to mean much. So credit goes to Howie Roseman. Credit goes to the players, obviously. But I also want to give Vic Fangio credit for this. Vic Fangio saw something in Zach Bond that maybe he didn't see in himself. We're talking about a guy that was like a gadget guy on defense, played some special teams, played some edge rusher on the Saints, but the Saints did not believe in him. They did not believe in him at all, but Vic Fangio did. Vic Fangio is the reason why Howie Roseman signed Zach Bond to that 1-year deal. People didn't really think too much of it. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't think too much of it, but in certain situations, there are people that believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And it might take somebody believing in you to ignite that fire and be like, hey, I got it. I'm like that. I'm one of them ones. Zach Bond, one of them ones. Whether in pass coverage, whether defending the run, whatever the case may be, this guy, Zach Bond, has been on another level. And I gotta salute Vic Fangio for watching that film and looking at what Zach Bond has done and being like, I can utilize him in my system. And we are seeing the guy flourish on a whole nother level. Got to give him some credit. Let's talk about this Rams, defense. Oh, not this Rams defense, but this Rams offense, right? Rams offense. So they got some great receivers. We know that. We know that Matthew Stafford is elite. I do believe that this is a great test. The next 2 weeks are a fantastic test. I love it. The fact that this Eagles team gets to face 2 elite quarterbacks in back-to-back weeks. So all that talk about, well, the Eagles ain't play nobody, even though they did face Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and we saw that Jamar Chase was, pedestrian against this Eagles team compared to what he was against the Ravens. And I'll say this, I knew this Eagles pass defense was legit when they held Jamar Chase to less than 60 yards receiving. And 2 weeks later, he puts up 250 something yards on the Ravens, bro. Like, look, yes, the Eagles have faced Deshaun Watson, Daniel Jones, Jayden Daniels, a rookie. But it's funny that, like, now narratives have kind of turned a little bit where it's like, oh, Jayden Daniels is just a rookie. Oh, the Bengals suck. When actually, I believe the Eagles were underdogs in that game against the Bengals. I was like, what the heck? What is going on? So that is crazy in itself. But look, talk about this Eagles defense. Yes, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell have been the stars, those rookie stars who are lighting the league on fire. At Real Talk, we keep it real. Y'all know that. At Real Talk, we always give credit where credit is due. Darius Slay needs some respect. I was very critical of him after that Buccaneers game. I thought he was too, happy with Mike Evans, with Quinyon Mitchell bringing that fire. I'm like, come on, dog. Like, bring that dog in you. But that's not really what he is. It's no knock on him, but like people are different, right? And then you saw him go on Micah Parsons' podcast, and Eagles fans was mad. I didn't like that at all. I ain't gonna lie. And then probably the worst part was when he went on Twitter, social media, and he was like listing his accolades in the league. And it's like, we don't care what you did in the league. We care what you're doing right now. Well, guess what? Darius Slay has shown up since the bye week. Let me read you his stats. 7 receptions on 17 targets for 92 yards since the bye week. That's amazing. 0 touchdowns, 5 pass breakups, and allowing just a 54.9 passer rating. Darius Slay has shown up. And I'm looking at this Eagles team, right? If Darius Slay is your third best corner, hell, your second best corner, oh my gosh, you have an elite pass defense, an elite one. Because going into this season, the consensus was, well, Darius Slay is going to be, the best cornerback on this roster and all of that. But we have seen that the addition of Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, I mean, look, those guys are studs for sure. But let's not forget about Darius Slay and his impact and what he is doing at 33 years old. Again, at Real Talk, we will criticize you, but we will praise you when you do well. Darius Slay, you get some respect for turning this season around. Let's talk about this offense real quick. Actually, let me talk about this defense 1 second. Let me talk about Quinyon Mitchell before I get to this Eagles offense. Quinyon Mitchell can lock up the Defensive Rookie of the Year in this game against the Rams. Because we all know Jared Verse is the favorite. I still believe that Quinyon is the favorite. He should be the favorite. And he's like a slight underdog. Now I think he's like second in odds right now. Jared Verse is first. But I'm looking at this, I'm saying, yo, if Quinyon Mitchell repeats his success against Matthew Stafford or against Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua, we're talking about a guy that, you can pick him. Who has he lost? Mike Evans, Drake London, Jamar Chase, Scary Terry, who wasn't looking too scary, Christian Watson to a lesser degree. But I'm looking at this guy's resume. If he's able to stop Matthew Stafford's prolific offense with Puka and Cooper Kupp, oh my gosh, this guy should be the favorite, especially when you're going to see Quinyon Mitchell and Jared Verse, playing against each other, or like they're going to be on the same team or same, I'm talking about the same matchup in terms of Jared Verse on the Rams, Quinyon on the Eagles. So I think this is a prime opportunity for Quinyon Mitchell to go ahead and lock up that Defensive Rookie of the Year. Y'all know that was my guy to be the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Cool offense. Let's talk about offense. What did I say before the Commanders game? I said Saquon Barkley is going to have a monster game because the Commanders are ranked the 28th run defense in the league. 28th out of 32 teams. They were terrible. They are terrible. And we saw what Saquon Barkley did. Now, what Saquon Barkley does is that he might not go for a huge run in the first quarter. He might not go for a huge run in the second quarter. What he does is he wears down the defense, and his stamina is so elite that when everybody is tired in that fourth quarter, and guys are just tired being on the field all day. Guess what? Saquon Barkley can get to that next level gear where nobody else can catch him. And I love that. He's the ultimate closer. I would probably say the best closer in the NFL this season by a mile with the way that he's been able to close games out because simply he's faster, he's stronger, more athletic, and has the stamina to go ahead and withstand what's going on in the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, and be able to go ahead and pop for a 40-yard run, or a 30-yard run, or 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, whatever the case may be. Saquon Barkley is that dude. Man, I love the way that he has been running the ball this year, and he should be the offensive rookie of the year if we're keeping his stat. Come on. He should. He should. I mean, I'm looking at, all right, this wasn't even planned. I'm going to talk about it. Yes, Saquon Barkley should be the offensive player of the year over Derrick Henry. Look, no disrespect to Derrick Henry. He's having a crazy year. I did not think he would be this good at his age. But look, bro, let's not act like Saquon Barkley ain't been to the 1-yard line all them times, bro. Let's keep it a bean, bro. I mean, he could have got at least 12, 13, maybe 15 touchdowns by now if it wasn't for the tush push or the brotherly shove. So let's put everything into context. Saquon Barkley is averaging more rushing yards per game, more rushing yards in one less game. What are we talking about? 8 touchdowns that could really be 15 touchdowns, and his impact in being a closer and his impact on winning with an Eagles team that is 8-2, first in their division. I'm sorry, but I can't give not only an MVP, but also an offensive player of the year to a team that isn't even number 1 in their division when you have a guy in Saquon Barkley who is the best player on offense for the number 2 seed currently right now in the Eagles in the NFC, also the best team in the NFC East. So let's put everything into context, and Saquon Barkley should be the offensive player of the year. And I would love to see what he does against that Ravens team, because he can lock up that award by having a stellar performance against a phenomenal run defense that is the Ravens. All right, offensively, let's talk about these receivers. Just like I said, with how Saquon Barkley is going to go off, A.J. Brown is going to have a monster game. I'm looking at who he's going to be matched up with. He's going to be matched up with Ahkello Witherspoon. Y'all don't know who that guy is? I'll refresh your memory, bro. I will refresh your memory. What happened in 2022? Anthony Edwards, he said something to like Steph Curry at the Olympics, and he was like, you should have pointed at both of them when he hit like that crazy three over 2 of those guys. He was like, you should have pointed at both of them. Guess what? In 2022, it was A.J. Brown pointing at both of them. And I'm glad. Take that flag, brother. Take that flag, because that was showtime. Oh my gosh, A.J. Brown was on a whole nother level that game, and he showed up. 3 touchdowns, 2 on Ahkello Witherspoon. And then he followed that up the following year in 2023 with a buck 27 against the Rams, against Witherspoon again. So I'm betting the house. If I'm a betting man, I am betting the house on A.J. Brown to have a monster game against this Rams pass defense, who is ranked 22nd in the league. They're not a good pass defense, bro. They are very, very torchable. And I'm looking at some of these quarterbacks that have lit them up. Drake May almost passed for almost 300 yards. Geno Smith almost passed for 400 yards. This is a very, very torchable team that the Eagles are about to face. And if Jackson Smith Jigba, who is a really good player, if he can get a buck 10, what do you think AJ Brown's gonna get? What do you think? I'm trying to tell you. Look, look, I be trying to let y'all know, just so if you want to put in a little slip in, you got the information. And somebody tried to tell me stats don't matter in division games. Stats matter. What are you talking about? Stats all that's a cop out for not doing research. Do the research. And at Real Talk, we do the research. And I give it to y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I love y'all, man. Love y'all, man. Come on. So look, I think the Eagles will win, but it's gonna be very, very big on this defensive line to get pressure. We all know it doesn't matter how good this Eagles, pass defense is. If a guy in Matthew Stafford, who is elite as he is, has time in the pocket, he'll pick you apart. He will. I mean, he'll pick you apart. So this defensive line has to generate pressure. Jalen Carter has to continue his dominance, and I expect great things from Nakobe Dean, Zach Bond. Nolan Smith has been turning up. Josh Sweat has been turning up. I love that celebration. So all these guys, and maybe Jalen Hurts, maybe he can go ahead and, get some action with the injury to Bryce Huff. Hopefully that he recovers from that and returns at the end of this season. Cool. Let's talk about the 76ers, bro. The 76ers. This will be a quick one, bro, because they get me so very, very upset. The Sixers are a mess. The trust the process era is over. It's over. But I have a few things I want to say. The fact that the team meeting got leaked. I'll say it again because I'm saying I thought. The fact that the team meeting got leaked to Shams is an indictment on the respect level the Sixers have for Joel Embiid. You can be the biggest Joel Embiid supporter. You can be the biggest Joel Embiid hater. But the fact that got out to the media that quick shows they don't respect the guy. It's very alarming. And now, another thing too, we have seen 2 instances with Joel Embiid being late to meetings and Jalen Carter being late to meetings. We saw when Jalen Carter was asked about it, he took accountability. He didn't say, oh, well, who snitched? Oh, who ran to the media? He took accountability. I'm sorry, but up to this point, I haven't seen Joel Embiid take accountability. What I've seen him do is say, whoever did that is a piece of crap. Oh my gosh, and all this stuff. It's like, bro, maybe if you were on time, and I'm not trying to defend the person that did it, but you have to first take ownership of what you did publicly. Now, in-house, you can be like, who the heck said that about this team meeting? We're supposed to be a team. We're supposed to be family. Family business, stays in the house, right? But you can't say that publicly. That's not leadership, bro, because then it's like you're not even really taking accountability for what you did. That's one thing. I knew that the Sixers trust the process era was over. Game 6, 2023 against the Celtics. And I'll break it down. We're talking about a game where Jason Tatum shot 5 for 21 from the field. He couldn't buy a bucket the whole entire game. It wasn't until that fourth quarter where that Sixers offense was absolutely putrid. And it was like the Celtics were like, y'all, go ahead. Get to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's finally y'all breakthrough. We're giving you the opportunity. And then what happened? James Harden didn't convert. We're going to talk about him. And Joel Embiid did not maximize that opportunity. Guess what happens? Tatum's like, all right, y'all playing. Chakum. 3 after 3 after 3. It goes back to Boston. And then Tatum drops a 50 ball. And we know what happened there. So ultimately, it was like, if you couldn't beat the Celtics before they won a championship on your home court, up 3-2, with a chance to go ahead and get to the NBA I mean, you have to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, but also get to the NBA Finals. If you could not seal the deal then, when will you ever seal the deal? That was the end right there. That was the end right there. Also, I believe during that series, uh, remember when PJ Tucker got into Joel Embiid's face because he was like, yo, get out your own head, bro. You're facing Al Horford. If you don't stick to your game and put buckets on him, that was a damn moment too. That was a damning moment as well. Because it's like, all right, if PJ Tucker gotta tell you, it's kind of like, and I'm not comparing PJ Tucker to this player talent wise, but in the way that they're trying to motivate the guy to be great, PJ Tucker trying to motivate Joel Embiid to overcome those hurdles is like when Dwayne Wade was trying to motivate LeBron James to be like, yo, it's your squad. Nobody can beat you. Play your game. And it was like the same exact thing. And it was like with LeBron James, he was able to overcome that, right? And now we see he become one of the most clutch players of all time. With Joel Embiid, he hasn't been able to flip that switch. And it's like you're 30 years old, you have injury history. I'm looking at this, I'm like, bro, like what are we so like fix? I look, I think Joel Embiid like is a really good player. I don't know about right now. Superstar. He ain't superstar, but he doesn't have that superstar mindset. And it's not damning that he didn't start with that mindset, but it's damning that he hasn't developed into that mindset. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody has that dog mentality off the gate. Not everybody. A clear example is LeBron James. I don't feel like he had that dog mentality only until he lost against the Mavs and Dwayne Wade had to get in his grill and say, yo, turn up, cuz. You're the best player in the world. Act like it. Stop deferring. And we saw that switch from LeBron James. Joel Embiid is 30 years old, and I still don't believe we have seen him flip that switch. And it's like, if you're not going to do it now, when are you ever going to do it? All right, let's talk about this is my favorite part. Well, it's my favorite part to talk about, but it's like, it's very sad. When the Sixers signed Paul George, I'll say this. When the Sixers were looking at Paul George this offseason, I'll say this. When the Sixers, all right, now this is like my favorite part of this Sixers talk. Is actually, it's not my favorite part because it's actually pretty sad, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, you know what? Like, I was right. I was right. I was right about Paul George, bro. At the end of the day, if you were going to give Paul George at 34 years old a max contract, but you were so vehemently opposed to giving James Harden a max contract, what are we doing? It makes no sense. You're talking about you're giving a max contract to a guy with injury history, no championship experience, and hasn't been proven to be a leader of men. Like that's not been his thing. He's been very, very talented and a complimentary piece, but he's never won a championship. That's the same thing as James Harden, but worse because at least James Harden plays. At least James Harden isn't that injury prone. So I'm looking at James Harden this year. James Harden averaging 20 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds on a 9-7 Clippers team without Kawhi Leonard. Versus Paul George this season is averaging 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists on a 2-12 Sixers team. This was my worst nightmare with Paul George. My worst nightmare. Because ultimately, he came to Philly to get that bag. Let's not even like sugarcoat it. He came to Philly to get the bag. That's the only reason why he moved he moved across the country. It was because the Sixers were willing to give him that extra year and max him out all the way. He wanted the Clippers to do that. The Clippers were not willing to. They would give him a 3-year max, but not a 4-year max. The Sixers were so desperate to get a guy better than Tobias Harris, and they were so traumatized from the Tobias Harris experience. They were like, we'll just go ahead and pay for Paul George. even though we know that he's probably not going to be, anywhere near his prime during this tenure. But heck, let's just go ahead and give him the bag. And then we're seeing now how that was a mistake, and you could have had some more role players. And honestly, for me, it was like I would have rather had Mikal Bridges and or OG Anunoby instead of Paul George. Once both of those guys went to the Knicks, I was like, all right, I mean, I guess we can go ahead and get Paul George. I mean, who's left? But it wasn't like I was happy about it. I was like, that's the only option we have to do. And we're seeing now that it's kind of sick that what's going on. But back to the James Harden situation, I feel like Philly owes James Harden an apology. Did it work out at the end? No, it did not. But James Harden in that Celtics series, before the Celtics won their champions, this is 2023, a year before that they won, right? It was James Harden that won that game in Boston on the road. Game 1, dropped 45 points, go ahead 3 to win the game. That is a signature moment. What about in Game 4? The Sixers were down 2-1. It was James Harden that dropped 42 points and that clutch 3 in the corner. So I'm looking at James Harden, I'm being like, hey, for a complimentary piece, he won 2 games for the Sixers. 2 games. Look, if Jokic or LeBron or Steph Curry, if their complimentary piece wins them 2 games in a series, they are expected to at least match them and win 2 games themselves. You feel what I'm saying? And Joel Embiid did not match James Harden and win 2 more games by himself for real, right? So I'm looking at James Harden, I'm being like, hey, we owe you an apology because the grass was not greener on the other side. It flat out wasn't. And again, I could understand it. I could understand it if James Harden and the Sixers, like if the Sixers were looking to go younger and get younger role players, but you basically got a guy who is a worse player than James Harden and is more injury prone and signed him to a max contract. And Daryl Morey reportedly lied to James Harden, told him he would get the max contract after James, bro. Yes, we owe James Harden an apology, bro. The Sixers owe James Harden an apology. He won us 2 games against the Celtics in 2023. 2 games. And then takes a hometown discount. A discount. Off the strength of what Daryl Morey told him to do. Daryl Morey lies to him. He's so pissed off that then at the end it gets so bad. But I'm thinking about this. I'm like, why the heck did we sign Paul George to a max contract if y'all were so vehemently against signing James Harden to a max contract? Both guys are damn near the same freaking age, bro. And James Harden's better than this guy. He's better, bro. And James Harden's the reason why I believe Tyrese Maxey developed into the player he is today because he learned from mentor in James Harden. James Harden, he deserves an apology, bro. He deserves an apology. And with Joel Embiid, my last point, the reason why Joel Embiid is so criticized right now, the reason why Joel Embiid is getting so much criticism is because in the past, it's been everybody else. It's been Markelle Fultz. It's been Ben Simmons. It's been Brett Brown, Doc Rivers, James Harden. The constant factor is you. I mean, Joel Embiid is like that friend that keeps on having new girlfriends and it's like, oh, it ends badly. And it's like, oh, if your man's like, I ain't the problem, it's her. It's like, all right, after the 3rd John, it's like, bro, you might be drawn, bro. It just might be you. And that's what Joel Embiid is. He had a good game, but them turnovers, bro. I'm getting tight. I'm getting mad. I'm getting angry. I'm trying to get my composure, but that's what it is. Fly Eagles fly. My last point. This is my last point before I get off. I will say this. The 76ers need to meet with the Eagles. ASAP, no Rocky. Y'all had a team meeting with the Sixers. Have a team meeting with the Eagles because the Eagles will teach you how to be a dog. Quinyon Mitchell, lead the meeting. Jalen Carter, lead the meeting. Jalen Hurts, lead the meeting. Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, lead the freaking meeting, bro. Because teach these guys what it means to be a dog. Because ever since the Sixers lost P.J. Tucker, they lost that grit. They lost a lot of that dog mentality. And I'm looking at this team outside Jared McCain, who's a rookie, who is a freaking rookie. Where are the dogs on this team, bruh? Where are the dogs, bro? So I don't know if Hurts, Barkley, whatever y'all gotta do, hey, Sirianni hit up Nick Nurse and be like, yo, we got something to tell y'all. We got the extra sauce. Because we got some dogs, bro. Hell, Nick Sirianni should freaking coach up Nick Nurse. Because Nick Nurse out here pouting, then they're about to cry, bro. Step up, bro. Step up, bro. Maybe it's Nick Sirianni that's got to tell him, yo, dog, like, all right, I kind of, had a little misstep earlier this year. I rebound, I shaved my head. You got to, hey, Nick, tell him to do something. Something. It's all Philly. One love, one Philly. One love, one Philly. We are all in this together, bro. Eagles, I beg y'all. And the Eagles are my only hope now. They're my only hope now. Not the Phillies no more. They folded. Not the Sixers no more. The season is done. The Eagles, I am putting all my hope into them. And hopefully, maybe I'm crazy, but just maybe the Sixers season has been lost because they were a sacrifice for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. I'll take it. Hey, the Sixers could be 2-80. And if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, I'll be happy. I don't care what's going on. If the Eagles win that bowl, hey, we won. We won. So look, it was a little bit of jokes, but like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz, some Sixers talk, some Eagles talk, some Philly talk. I love y'all. I got the fresh cut. You know what I'm talking about. Hey, shout out to this little setup I got now. Hey, we're not done yet. Job's not done yet. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. We're talking MJ. We are out.